Driven by the desire to collect, interpret, and showcase artifacts telling the stories of human race, museums as we know them have grown from private collections to institutions of grand significance and scale. In their thermally regulated interiors and carefully arranged display cases, they exhibit hundreds of evidential objects from our history and evolution. Enclosed museums offer the opportunity to view only selected items of heritage and historical value. While this act and way of preserving history is incredibly important, these items are often taken out of context and therefore sometimes cannot give visitors a complete image of the times they date back to. Open-air museums, in contrast, offer visitors the opportunity to experience something much more personal, the chance to be able to stand beside a completed building, touch it, and understand its size and volumetric impact compared to the human body is much more powerful than seeing just separate elements put behind shiny glass cases. In the very broad sense, open-air museums represent a giant step for our common cultural awareness and education, and a big leap in the evolution of museums. Located in the picturesque rural valleys of Styria, the Stübing Open Air Museum is one of the biggest open-air museums in Europe. Since opening in 1962, its almost 100 historical buildings spanning across 6 centuries have been attracting almost 60,000 visitors annually. Here, traditional ways of looking after the countryside have been preserved and buildings live in harmony with nature. While at Stübing, it feels like time has stopped and you have been transported back in time and immersed in the scenic valley that tells the tales of rural architecture and traditions. The great selection of multifunctional buildings of various scales provides a comprehensive backdrop for a journey through Austria's rustic traditions and architectural styles. Each one of the structures here comes with its own story and reflects the social and economic conditions of the region it is originally from. Every building in Stübing has been carefully relocated and lovingly restored to allow visitors the ultimate experience of walking through its doors, getting up close with the interiors, and even though briefly, vividly imagining what it might have been to live there. The colorful and tidy flower beds, herbal gardens, and careful attention to detail can easily leave you with the impression that the owners could return any moment now. Nevertheless, no one lives in these houses today. Unfortunately, apart from on certain event days, Stübing's open-air museum visitors are left to explore and experience the history of Austrian rural life on their own. There are no staff living on the premises to help revive the spirit of past times. The Black Country Living Museum is the third most visited open-air museum in the UK. Built in the 1950s, it has been growing ever since. Black Country refers to the area of the West Midlands, which was the first industrial landscape anywhere in the world. Famous for the production of structural ironwork, chain making, locksmiths, and coal mining, the region gained its official name in the 1930s due to the smoke of the thousands of ironworking foundries and forges. As the name Living Museum suggests, the Black Country builds upon the concept of open-air museums by adding another dimension of experience. The museum grounds are cared for by having people reside in them. These are often either historians who engage in period living as a research tool to test theories and explore cultural traditions, or enthusiasts who create personas for themselves based on the records of past people and who reenact their day-to-day activities for the educational benefit of visitors. Black Country Living Museum guests are highly encouraged to engage and interact with residents through various activities offered on site. In addition, the museum offers heritage skills courses and lunchtime talks aimed at preserving the objects, traditions, and handcraft skills of the region.
And that's a completed liquor chain. Has anybody got any questions?
With its 26 acres of land, the Black Country Living Museum aims to bring the typical Victorian village, old working mine, and industry to life. In 2010, the historically accurate 1930s replica of the old Birmingham Road High Street was open to the public. Every building seen on the street has been saved from demolition and moved here brick by brick from the neighbouring small towns. The rows of shops and the pub have been meticulously rebuilt with all the bricks in their original places to show the faded adverts painted on the sides. There are around 80,000 items in the museum's collection that can be seen in the houses, workshops, stores and pub. Even the junk in the workshop yards, however, are complete buildings awaiting their rebirth. Whether it is the Open Museum in Austria, the Living Museum in the UK, or any other ones across the world, it is undoubted that such concepts contribute a lot to the preservation of national heritage. In most traditional museums, there is still a feeling of detachment from the exhibits and their stories. With accessible buildings allowing visitors the ability to explore the past in its authentic context, the concept of open-air museums offers the unprecedented opportunity to engage with history on a personal level, which cannot be substituted even by the newest of technology. Living museums then step in to elevate that experience even further by presenting visitors with a more enriching and interactive experience that leaves a long-lasting impression. It gives you the chance to get into character for a day and see even the most routine of tasks from a new perspective. Better attention needs to be paid to the more holistic historical conservation and preservation of artifacts and traditions so that they can be protected for future generations. As technology and communications are constantly developing, so is the world of social interaction. This is a challenge that all museums, educational and cultural institutions are facing. Nevertheless, open-air and living museums as concepts have many unsung benefits that can overcome some of these obstacles, and if supported and promoted correctly, can turn the museum experience from a broadcast to a conversation.